Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of AA Entertainment. It's that time of the year again, which means during this entire month, I'll be posting as many videos as I can celebrating all that is spooky. And for today, I'm going to be discussing my personal favorite author of all time, the master of horror, Stephen King. So for today, here are my top 10 personal favorite short stories from Stephen King. At number 10, The Lawn Mower Man from Night Shift. Although most people, including King himself, claim Survivor Tape to be the litmus test for King and overall horror fans, The Lawn Mower Man disturbed me more than any other piece of fiction outside of American Psycho. The Lawn Mower Man starts off when Harold needs to fire his current lawnmower man after he runs over their cat. Harold then decides to rent an ad, and the new lawnmower man is a pot-bellied neckbeard. Once he is shown the lawn and Harold goes back into the house to relax, the lawnmower man follows an ancient ritual which involves him stripping completely naked and follows the self-controlled lawnmower on his hands and knees, eating the grass and other detritus, including a gopher, that flies out the back of the lawnmower. Obviously disgusted by the sight, Harold verbally chastises the man who doesn't take too well to the criticisms. Much like any rational human being who gets told off by the boss, the lawnmower man sicks the lawnmower on Harold and into his living room. This story is graphic as all hell and holds no bars whatsoever. And for the record, I used to mow lawns for a living, and no, this story is not an accurate portrayal of us alcoholic landscapers. At number 9, Trucks from Night Shift. I need to make a controversial statement, but I'll stand by my opinion to my grave. Maximum Overdrive is a kick-ass movie. Trucks is a short story on which the film is based on. Trucks is, well, about trucks. Possessed by an unknown force, trucks corner a group of strangers at a freeway truck stop diner after slaughtering every human in sight. That's pretty much it, but it's classic Stephen King, and again, I'm a massive fan of Maximum Overdrive, which is the only film King directed to this date. At number 8, Graveyard Shift. What would otherwise be a modern adaptation of H.P. Lovecraft's The Rats on the Walls by any other writer, Graveyard Shift centers around an out-of-town college student seeking for a job. He is hired at a textile mill by the ruthless owner, Warwick. The biggest catch outside of working in a textile mill is that the basement where he works is infested with rats. However, these rats, which are cut off from nature and their outside, have evolved into mutant creatures. Once the crew discovers another basement, the drifter, Hal, along with the rest of the crew, including Warwick, go to investigate. There they discover an empire and ecosystem of these mutant rats. At number 7, Nona from Skeleton Crew. Our narrator is a college dropout who meets a beautiful girl named Nona on a winter's night in Maine. After getting harassed and beaten up by a bunch of goons at a diner, Nona coaxes him into standing up for himself and kicks their asses. Throughout the night, the two lovebirds go hitchhiking together, murdering countless bystanders. At the end of the night, Nona lures the narrator to a graveyard and reveals an even bigger and more terrifying secret. At number 6, The Jaunt from Skeleton Crew. In the future, scientists have developed a form of teleportation that allows humans to instantaneously travel from point A to point B, called the jaunt, enabling humans to colonize the solar system. Much like the play in Hamlet, this is a story within a story, as the center story is told by a guy waiting to be teleported with his family to Mars. The jaunt was serendipitously discovered by a scientist named Victor Carroon after accidentally teleporting 2 of his fingers. Although inanimate objects can jaunt without any side effects, the same can't be said on animals and humans, as 2 mice who are teleported either die in the process or go completely insane. The only way to go through the jaunt unscathed is by going under anesthetics. This is practiced on several death row inmates. After all but one die, the sole survivor lives only long enough to utter the phrase, "It's eternity in there." They discovered that although the jaunt is technically a matter of seconds, consciously it lasts an eternity. The ending caught me off guard and stuck with me since. I can say it has a Russian sleep experiment vibe. At number 5, The Mangler from Night Shift. From haunted trucks to bloodthirsty industrial laundry presses. Interesting fact, while Stephen King was struggling in his early days as a professional writer, he worked at an industrial laundry, which is where he was inspired to write this, as well as Dolores Claiborne. The Mangler revolves around Detective John Hutton, who investigates a series of grisly deaths caused by an industrial laundry press, or mangle. The further he investigates, he discovers a connection to a demonic ritual. Although I didn't care much for the Tobe Hooper film, the short film is definitely worth a read, and it's sure to make your stomach turn. At number 4, 1408 from Everything's Eventual. Obviously, I love each and every story on this list. for a very special reason. But 1408 really intrigues me because on the one hand, I like to think there are such things as ghosts, but if you were to stick me in a haunted house or hotel, which I've been in Ocean City, I would say you're a bullshit artist. Mike Enslin is a writer whose niche is writing about haunted places. Despite his success, he doesn't believe in the supernatural whatsoever. When he hears about the Dolphin Hotel and the dreaded Room 1408, he sees a bestseller in the works. Many people, including the hotel manager, do whatever they can to persuade him to not stay in Room 1408. Eventually, he gets the go-ahead and stays the night in Room 1408. Look, I'll spend the night in the home of Albert Fish for free. This does prove to be not such a smart decision for the skeptical writer, and he soon comes to regret his decision. So this is a last-minute change. I was actually halfway through editing this video until I came across this title, and I remembered how much I enjoyed reading it, and I completely forgot about it. So here it is. At number 3, The Breathing Method, from Different Seasons. Much like the jaunt, the breathing method is a frame story, as a Manhattan lawyer visits an eerie men's club where men pretty much play pool, chess, and tell tales of the macabre. Our narrator of the main story is a physician who tells us of a patient whom he had was pregnant with an illegitimate child. Without any husband and going through the pregnancy on her own, the two developed a really intimate relationship to the point the doctor fell in love with the patient. When Sandra, the mother, goes into labor, she takes a taxi to the hospital during a wintry night. On the way to the hospital, the cab crashes, decapitating the mother. Seeing the accident, the doctor goes to see the mother and discovers she is still somehow alive. Determined to save the child, the headless mother manages to birth the baby with the assistance of the doctor while using his breathing method. Not only is the doctor's story interesting as fuck, but I really wouldn't mind reading an entire novel about the men's club. It's also worth noting that Different Seasons contains the novellas Rita Hayworth and The Shawshank Redemption, as well as the underrated Apt Pupil. At number 2, Big Driver, from Full Dark, No Stars. Trigger warning for our next entry, as it does delve full on into rape. Our main character is Tess, a mystery writer who travels to Massachusetts for a public speaking event. After her tires are wrecked by nails in the road, a truck driver volunteers to assist Tess and change her tires. Things take a turn for the worse when the pickup driver abducts the writer and brutally rapes her several times and chokes her until she's unconscious. She wakes up in a culvert alongside 3 other murdered women. She escapes but keeps quiet about the horrors she endured because as a famous writer, she fears it would create a scandal and invite even more trauma. Instead, she uses her skills as a mystery writer and goes around town telling people about a man who helped her in order to do a sleuthing. Once she starts to find culprits, she gets her revenge and brutally murders them. I would like to mention that this story not only came out of left field and left me speechless, but it also got me hooked onto Bonnie Tyler's It's a Heartache. At number 1, Survivor Type, from Skeleton Crew. Stephen King himself described Survivor Type as being the litmus test for any King fan. Let me first give you a taste of what I'll be discussing. Sooner or later, the question comes up in every medical student's career. How much shock trauma can the patient stand? Different instructors answer the question in different ways, but cut to its base level, the answer is always another question. How badly does the patient want to survive? And we are left off with, who cares? This hand or that. Good food, good meat, good God, let's eat. Ladyfingers, they taste just like ladyfingers. Richard Pinzetti is a well-renowned surgeon who's attempting to smuggle copious amounts of heroin aboard a cruise ship. However, things take a turn for the worse and he's left as the sole survivor on a small island. Without any food or contacts, he writes in his journal going back and forth between his autobiography and what he has to endure on the island. Despite the occasional seagull, his food supplies are incredibly scarce. After amputating a gangrenous leg, well, things get even more fucked up. He eventually decides, hey, why not? And gradually cuts parts of himself off and eats himself. God bless you, Stephen King. I should make a small PSA for any vulnerable viewers out there. Do not eat yourself. Thank you so much for watching this. And let me know in the comment section down below what your favorite Stephen King short story is, or what your favorite Stephen King novel is.